I started with a firm called Smith & Brooker, and since that time I have almost exclusively, my practice has been as a trial lawyer. Initially, the first 11 years or so, I was handling matters of civil litigation from the defense perspective, mostly on behalf of corporations and insurance companies. And in 1988, I decided to join my friends Brian Kennedy and Bob Gruber because I wanted to work on behalf of people, individuals, many of whom had been injured, many of whom who had been victims of corporations and insurance companies, things of that nature. I also, at that point, for a number of years, began practicing some criminal law, domestic relations. I did that for 10 or 12 years. In the latter part of my career, and I guess this is the latter part of my career, I have subspecialized in areas of complex litigation, medical malpractice, some commercial litigation, things of that nature. Over my 33 years, I've had a lot of experience in courts, and I've seen the difference between judges who do the job well and judges who don't do the job well, and the impact that has on the individuals, the corporations, the parties who come before a court. I think I've prepared myself well to do this job. I understand litigation. I think I've practiced virtually every area that comes before the court. I think I have the temperament and the work ethic. Thank you very much.
We have been accepting questions from the audience, and the panel will decide which questions, and we'll try to get to all of them if we can. My first question, we've heard background from most of you folks. What I'd like to know is what experience, what qualifies you to be the winning candidate to be a judge? And I guess
the question is, what experiences qualifies me to want to be a judge? I have a tender judge, and I hope you get one. One of my displays has my resume. My resume is from the time I finished law school. And my experience is wide and varied. I started in working for Judge Caprati, then I went on to work in a private law firm, and then I went to work through the UAW, and then I went to work with an assistant prosecuting attorney. I became corporation counsel under both Ken Higgs and Tom Hickner. Judge Todd then hired me to be an attorney referee in the juvenile court, and then I got cross-trained as a magistrate in the district court. So I was doing hearings in both courts. We'll stick with this one.
Thank you. Again, my brochure indicates I'm also a Bay County longtime resident, went through All Saints, graduated. My 25 years with my father certainly was a help as a mentor. My experience in 30-some counties plus over 30 years certainly gives me the experience in the courtroom. I'm also the only certified state court administrator's office mediator among the panel, a process that I intend to implement in Bay County when I become judge. But also, and very important to me, is my community service. School board, JC's, Boy Scouts, the litany of background, not just this year because I'm running, but for 30 years. I think that's as important as my legal experience. And I appreciate your consideration as the survey we'll discuss, I'm sure, at some point today about the Bay County Bar. Thank you.
Howdy folks, again, I'm Steve Jacobs. I've practiced in the areas of district court most of my life. I've done over 100 jury trials, both in the state and the federal level. What do they do in district court? They do a lot of criminal work. done thousands of criminal cases myself. I do landlord-tenant actions. I've done hundreds of landlord-tenant actions, both representing the landlord and the tenant. They do small claims actions. I've represented myself individually as an individual in a small claims action. I've even been a defendant in a small claims action. They do breach of contract actions for under $25,000 in the district court. I've been both a plaintiff's attorney and a defense attorney in a breach of contract action. I have done many, many times everything that is practiced in district court, and I feel qualified to do the job. Thank you.
When it comes to district court, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, I live there. I am the director of the Department of Criminal Defense, and I handle pleas, sentencings, motions, and trials. Good idea, I probably try about 1% of the cases that I have handled, okay? There's over 10,000, and even for now I'm doing predominantly felony work, they start with preliminary examinations in district court and that. There isn't, I just tell you, I spend hours in that court on a daily basis, for the most part, if it's going through pleas, and then handling people. Again, you understand that if you're doing 500 defendants a year when I was doing misdemeanor work, and roughly 200 a year now that are felonies, those cases all run through district court, all at different levels, from arraignment to change of plea, to motions, to sentencing, and trials if need be. As I said, I don't dabble in that court, I live in it. Thank you.
In 1987, my husband's grandmother was murdered in Bay County. She was a church organist, a lovely person, well respected within the Bentley community. Someone came to her front door with a shotgun, and that was the end of her life. Violent crime has touched my family not once, but several times. And because of that, I am uniquely in tune with what it means to be the victim of a violent crime. I bring that perspective to the courtroom every day. I have been a prosecutor and handled well over almost 2,000 cases as a prosecutor. I worked with Mr. Janer in the public defender's office here when I came to Bay County, handled well over 1,000 cases as a public defender. I have been a civil attorney in a successful civil practice, both in the federal and in our state courts, and so every area of the law that happens in the district court I have done. And that is why I am your judge now. In terms of living in the district court, I have to say there's no one who lives there quite the same way I do, for it is my court now. And I invite you to come down anytime you want to and watch the way that I do the job.
There are a number of factors that are important for a judge to be qualified, and I hope you will agree that I have that experience. I outlined a little bit ago what that experience was, but there are also other factors. There's work ethic. It's important that the judge work hard, and I've proven over my career that I do that. It's a matter of a judge needs a good temperament. You don't want a grumpy judge. Now, that's not to be confused with the judge who makes people follow the rules and meet deadlines and have a discipline on how the litigation is conducted, but it should be done, as one of the candidates said, remembering that we're a service organization, no matter what a person has done. It comes down, I think, to judgment and the ability to exercise discretion. And it's also very subjective, so you folks are going to have to decide whether we have it or not, but that's what I would submit to you.
What do I have? Well, first of all, I'll tell you right now, I am independent, and I'm open-minded, and I believe fairness is what it takes, and I have that. When someone comes before the court, you want someone who is going to have those traits. Someone who is not going to be afraid of the establishment, not going to be afraid